And welcome back. We want to talk about burn safety, and we've invited PIO Captain Natalie Knacker from the Orange County Fire Authority to join us talking about burn safety. And it's kind of it's really an important thing. You guys get calls on burns all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty significant event when one of those happens, whether it's small or large, and obviously we're usually in the mild to moderate burns more often than the very severe burns.
Right.
But when they happen, they're not only painful, but the bigger ones are very memorable in our lives too, from what we see.
Okay, let's talk about the kind of burns. I've heard first degree burn, second degree burn, third degree burn, but kind of we go over a little list of exactly what those terms mean and what we should say. Oh, this could be a second degree burn.
Yeah, so just to kind of break it down in layman's term, your first degree burn is very superficial, and the best way to describe it is a sunburn. It's very red, you're mild, you don't have any blistering, but it's very painful.
I accidentally touch the side of a pot and I go, ouch, and I put my finger in my mouth, ooh, ouch, but nothing much happens after that.
No, you'll just see some mild redness, and that's your first degree burn. It's just the top layer of skin. And even though it hurts a lot, as long as it's just red there, that we would call that a first degree burn.
Okay.
Our second degree burn goes a little bit deeper, and the best way to describe it is the blistering, and you'll start to see that. And those are still painful, and what we describe a burn is no matter if you see a second degree burn, if you see the blistering, there also means that there's a little bit of a first degree around it as well.
Okay.
So they're significantly painful.
Okay, so and that's it can be painful, but that's usually not something to call 911 over, right? But
no, not the small ones. Yeah.
And then when we're talking about third degree now, let's talk about now we get to the severe category of burns, right?
Yeah. So third degree burns, very significant. They basically go through all the levels of the skin, and we're looking at charring, a very waxy, flat surface, and those are significant. Those are definitely emergencies. They also will have blistering and that first degree, that target kind of bullseye around it. And those definitely require a burn center.
Right, so the center of wherever the immediate burn happened, but then as it moves out towards the margins, it becomes second and first as it gets away from the hot spot center where it occurred, right?
Exactly, yep.
Okay. And if this goes untreated, what can happen? Are we talking about infections or things like that? Or somebody's, oh, I'm fine, I'll wrap it up. Like, I'll take a lot of Motrin.
Yeah, well, so our skin is an organ, and
Right.
it protects us from bacteria, from weather, being cold and warm. So if we start taking away those layers of skin by these significant burns, we're going to have way more susceptibility for infections. We start to lose the ability to keep our bodies warm. So sometimes you'll start to get hypothermic for the very significant large burns. So a lot of times if we give them the advice, if it's bigger than the palm of your hand, definitely we need to go see a burn center. If obviously it's a third degree burn or a large surface. The other areas of burns that you want to definitely seek medical attention for, burns around the hands, genitalia, feet, face, because those are high use areas. They're very susceptible to infection because we're always touching and moving around. So those are the ones that we would want you guys to seek medical attention for at a burn center.
So let's talk about like maybe a second or first. What can I do? Ice? Is ice always a good idea, or is that a...
No, contrary to belief, immediately just put it under cool water, not super cold. We don't want it icy. We don't want grease, or we've had people put mustard
butter,
and other.
I've heard an old story of butter. I never understand butter.
No, we don't want to cook. No, but really, the skin will continue to kind of burn even after you remove yourself from the substance or whatever burned you.
Okay.
But we want to keep it under copious amounts of cool water. And by that is if you think you feel better, you keep it under water again. So if you burn your wrist after taking out of a pan of the oven, we just want to keep it under there in copious amounts of cool water and run for at least 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And that will really, it will help with pain management. It will also, again, stop that burn from continuing to move a little bit further and further and getting a little bit bigger.
Okay, so I know no butter, no grease or whatever, but are there ointments or something like that for you treat? Like, oh, I have a second degree burn, the blister is popped, or, I know it's getting a little graphic here, but...
No, yeah. No, those are very, I think that's the scariest part about a second degree burn is the blister. Do I pop it? What happens if it pops? The best thing is the body will handle itself, so don't pop it if it's not already popped. And if it is popped, just leave it as is.
Okay.
There's over-the-counter burn creams. You can use those. They have lidocaine in them. Those will help with some of the pain.
Okay.
We want to use clean, dry dressings on top of that just to basically protect the area. And that's really enough typically to get you through the first couple days, and then after that it should heal over time.
Okay, so on the rare occasion I've really burned myself, or someone has had a real incident, and what would be the kind of the marker to say, I think it might be time to call 911 and get some folks out here to help me out?
Yeah, honestly, at any time you're confused or you feel like this is significant, give us a call. I mean, we'll come by, we can help you, we can help mitigate, and again, we can help decide that factor for you if you're not sure. And that's what we're there for. However, again, anything bigger than the size of the palm of the hand, if it's on your arm, forearm, leg, any of that type of stuff, give us a call. Again, hands, feet, face, genitalia, significant chest burns, right? Because that would be bigger than a palm. And when we talk about liquids or the things we see in kitchen fires or kitchen events, those are the ones that we typically are seeing is a good amount of surface area, and those are the ones that you want to give us a call, and we'll take you to a burn center.
Okay. Now let's talk a little about prevention. Let's cut the burn right out of it. How do we stop? I know I should be using more sunscreen. That's for my first degree burns.
Yeah. Definitely be cognizant of the sun. Use some sunscreen on there. You know, layers, hats, all that type of stuff, especially for the stuff closest to the sun. Don't forget the top of your head, your ears, and your nose. I always get my nose and forehead, you know, when I'm out.
How about stuff around the house? If I'm cooking in the house, what things around the oven I should be concerned about in the stovetop?
No, very, very important. Decluttering about 3 feet around your oven and your stovetop. And sometimes we have rugs in there, we have other things going on, especially if you have littles in the house, whether it's grandkids, kids, or even animals. You want to make sure that you keep that as clear as possible so that we don't trip. If we are moving a pot from one area to the other with, you know, hot water or hot food, that we're not tripping on things. The other thing is if you are working with the stovetop and you have the handles of the pots and pans, we want to make sure we keep those inside of the diameter of the oven or the stovetop. And really, it is a lot of times you just bump into it. Little kids love to pull stuff.
They love to grab stuff off things, right?
Yes, I have twins at home. They're 6 years old, and that was just a big thing. And it's hard. You don't think about it,
right? But
you really have to put those handles in so they're not willing to grab, and they just want to see. The other thing is, I'm from, Sicilian, Italian, and we love our food. We love to sniff. But make sure if you are cooking with a lid or have something significantly frying or on the stove, open the lid away from your face and give it some time to off gas, and then you can open it up total.
Yeah, I put my head halfway inside the oven when I check things. I'll come back with my face all steamed up. One of the things is unattended. If I need to boil this for an hour, I need to make this rice, I'm going to go. That's a danger, right?
Oh,
in terms of the kids coming in and that kind of thing, and then you come back to it and it's boiling over and you start grabbing immediately, right?
So 47% of our fires in the nation are caused by kitchen fires.
Okay.
And believe it or not, when I worked in Laguna Woods, we went a lot of fires, or what we would assume is fires, but it was basically food on the stove. Typically boiled eggs, people boiling hard boiling eggs, and they leave that, and you have a false sense of like there's a lot of water in here, and that water boils down pretty quickly. So it was unattended. Please, if you have food on the stove, keep an eye on it. You need to be around that time.
Okay. And what are some of the common calls you guys get? Like you did mention a couple. What are some of the things that you do get called out on that you see that, oh gosh, this could be so easily prevented, that kind of thing? Yeah,
the one thing is like hot coffee. Those types of things is we are not really respecting the cup in and of itself. The other thing is microwaves. We take for granted that there's no heat source there as far as like flames.
Right, it's not hot.
Yeah, so opening it up after 2-3 minutes, warming up a cup of coffee, the actual container itself may be hot, so please, wear gloves or, mitts to take it out, or be respectful of that, because again, if you touch it, it's hot, you drop it, now we have splatter, we have all that. So those are something to think about, and things that we see just because, again, we take for granted there's no heat, like flame right there, so it's not hot in our head, we just,
Okay, terrific. Captain Natalie Nacker, Orange County Fire Authority, thanks so much for coming in and talking to us about the do's and don'ts around burn safety. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, let's be careful out there, folks. We'll be right back. You're watching This Day.